When it comes to the topic of petrol and America's appetite for it, we're like heroin addicts. And as the color of the waters of the Gulf turn from a murky blue to a poop brown, RT's Lauren Lister asked Americans, can you kick the habit?
Colors galore, and each available with Thunderbird Power.
A family, a house, a white picket fence.
Like so many people these days, we live in the suburbs.
A place where families discovered the freedom of two cars.
It's a whole new way of life.
Well, there's no question that we set up an infrastructure that's very car-driven based on what we thought was endless supplies of cheap oil.
But as these supplies see their limits,
So we have drilled out the easy-to-drill-out places.
it's the demand for gas that has become endless.
There's no question, as even President Bush said, we're addicted to oil.
And nearly 60 days into the largest oil spill in U.S. history, have we been watching the American dream?
Now I'm free to go anywhere, do anything, see anybody anytime I want to.
Fueled by this,
Nation on wheels.
help create a national nightmare in the deep waters where these pipes burst. Joseph Rome and the Center for American Progress believe in fixing what they call the real problem, America's energy vulnerability.
Fundamentally, we're not making any more oil in the world, so you got to drill in more and more extreme places if you want to satisfy that addiction.
$377 million gallons of oil are pumped into the United States each day. And visit any average gas station and you see plenty of evidence of the U.S. addiction to oil.
Yeah, I use a lot of gas.
We have an uncontrolled, here I am at a gas station, we have an uncontrolled thirst for petroleum fuels.
People understand, but are they ready to do anything about it?
I think the American public understands that we need to get off of, the dirty, unsafe fuels of the 19th century.
Are drivers willing to get rid of their gas guzzlers?
Yeah, probably, but I don't plan on getting rid of it.
I probably wouldn't just because I need it for work.
But most people don't really need a 5.3-liter V8 engine consuming fuel more fitting a locomotive. So are they willing to sacrifice their lifestyle? Maybe take public transportation?
I probably won't. No, it's unfortunate, but I don't like the metro, so it's not reliable enough for me.
Unfortunately, and this is my lazy approach to it, sometimes I have to do what works for me at the moment based on my schedule.
Are Americans such as this man?
I do use public transportation. I typically fill up my gas tank once every 6 weeks.
Confident others are following suit.
Part of an entitlement attitude.
And as U.S. President Barack Obama addresses these attitudes about our dependence on oil in his first Oval Office speech, the questions are not new.
Why have we not been able to get together as a nation to resolve our serious energy problem?
But if the solutions are deja vu of decades ago,
the strength we need will not come from the White House, but from every house in America.
is America doomed to see deja vu of the same failures?
Our society is very self-serving. It's what's in it for me, not what's in it for the better of the good.
It's unfortunate, but it's true.
Lauren Lister, RT, Washington, D.C.
Here at 6 o'clock, an age-old dream becoming a reality. A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
It's a major breakthrough that will no doubt make motorists happy. And as Ralph Robinson explains, the Pentagon is also showing lots of interest in this project.
Water has always been considered a precious commodity, but Stan Meyer's invention may make it even more valuable. He has developed what's called a water fuel cell. It has taken the place of his old gas tank. The water fuel cell breaks down water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen. The hydrogen is used to run his dune buggy.
I don't care if you use rainwater, well water, city water, ocean water. If you don't have any fresh water, go ahead and use snow. If you don't have any snow available to you, then use salt water because there's no adverse effect to the fuel cell.
Meyer started working on this project 4 years ago. He's not a scientist. He isn't even a chemist. In fact, he never graduated from college. Myers was determined, he says, to design something to protect this country from oil embargoes.
And we have calculated that if we take the dune buggy from Los Angeles to New York, we would roughly use 22 gallons of water.
The Pentagon flew a lieutenant colonel in last week to look at Myers' invention. There's talk of possibly using it in the Star Wars defense program and to run Army tanks. Myers is currently perfecting a water fuel cell for cars. It will cost about $1,500. He says it won't need any maintenance, and you won't have to replace it. It'll be at least 2 years before the fuel system goes into mass production. The day it happens will be one the fuel industry hates, but it'll put a smile on the face of those who've had to say at one time or another, fill her up. I'm Ralph Robinson.
As you can see, many patents have already been received, and many more are forthcoming. To date, over 42 patents have been applied for.
And RT's Lauren Lister here in studio with us to talk a little bit more about our story. Lauren, you know, the thing that kept on popping into my mind as I watched that story was this. You have all these people who say, yeah, it's a problem, I'm guilty of it, but I'm not willing to do anything about it. I mean, did you actually call them out on it and say, look, I mean, you're kind of being, for lack of a better term, a hypocrite about this?
Yeah, because even some of the people that you speak to that you say, do Americans have a role in this? You can blame BP, you can blame the government, but you could argue that regulation and corporations can go only so far to solve the problem if Americans aren't willing to change their lifestyle and change their habits. You know, you can build all the public transportation you want, but if there's no one to ride it, you know, it's not going to accomplish what needs to happen in order to get off dependence on oil. And when you ask people that, they say, yeah, I get it, but there's a million reasons why I can't do that right now. A lot of people cite the economic reasons. You know, it's very expensive. You know, it's no secret sports utility vehicles. You can't really get a lot of money for them right now because of what's happened over the last few years with gas prices, with people moving to more fuel-efficient vehicles or trying to. You know, so people say, I can't sell my car. You know, we're in a recession. I can't afford a new car. If I could go back in time, I would have bought a more fuel-efficient car because I didn't know oil prices and gas prices were going to go so high. I think you have a little bit of a slumber too because gas prices are a little lower now, but experts that you speak to say it's going to go back up to $4 real soon, and people will be forced to do something because at the end of the day, money will kind of influence them.
Well, it sounds like it's just, or yet another, lack of a better term, excuse after excuse. Maybe
right.
There some are more legitimate than others, but it sounds like we're probably going to have to hear a little. We're going to hear a little bit more about this from you later on the show. Thanks a lot, RT's Lauren Lister.
Our Earth, healthy, strong, and full of life. But wait, what's that you've got there? It looks like you've got a case of the humans. To be a healthy Earth, all of your elements must be in equilibrium. However, these parasites slaughter all other forms of life. Guzzle your natural resources. And poison your atmosphere. Once contracted, humans act quickly. They multiply over 300,000 a day, consuming anything that crosses their path. Earth is just the start. Who knows what's next?